if it has to be vertical. So there's things like that.
Yeah, so much of the absolute work with artists over the years, including that rock-and-roll bottle that we saw earlier, is about being witty. And I wonder, and Sebastian, of course, you work a lot, or I guess everybody here, in one way or another, has. Does well-done humor sort of take some of the, is that a nice wink to sort of make these kinds of sponsored collaborations go down easier in the part of consuming?
Humor?
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
I think humor allows you to talk about subjects like religion or death or sex in a way which, I don't know, doesn't sound so tragic or dramatic. The good comedian is always the one who's finally telling the truth between his joke. I think what happens with wit a lot is that sometimes the client doesn't want wit. I feel just like you go into a relationship with someone and you, as an understand what are they looking for, and you've got to be open to be surprised. Many times when you ask for wit, because you can't prognosticate what's going to come out, you're not the answer. So I worked with a tile company once, and they wanted new designs for their tiles. And tiles, if you look at the back side, it's like a brick, right? You look at the front side and it has a special varnish that goes into the oven. So I gave them a tile that, when it passed through the varnish, it had a stencil on top that covered a few letters. So when it comes out, everything but the letters had been varnished. When you place the tree and rain would start falling, the part that hadn't been covered by the varnish would start sucking up water and therefore would change in colour. And the tile would stay slippery when wet. For me, it was a very friendly, wink, clever little thing where your tile was actually connected with the person and kind of going, okay, careful. They never expected that. They expected a aesthetical, nice little design that would probably sell well for this and that, and therefore they were taken so aback that they didn't have the ability to digest it. So I think wit is very tricky.
Yeah, no, that's certainly been my experience. When I was starting out and trying to write numerous pieces, editors would often say, "Oh no, we want humor. We really do." And then when it's actually put in front of them, they recoil and say, "Thank you very much." Do you find that in your business, Paul?
Well, on this subject, the best, I have to say the endorsement, the best company I've worked with has been decent because they're so hands off and they give proper budget. They're great. They trust you. And now when I work, I always make certain that is sure they want my drawing style. I don't do stuff that looks like Norman Rockwell or whoever. So it's, are you sure you really want this? And then, like with Coke, I just told them, like, okay, guys, like, you can editorialize up until like 11 o'clock on Friday, and then I'm going to do it. And I don't know what I'm doing yet. So I'll tell you what it is, and the sense of the style. Of course, comics has a lot of humor, so.
Yeah, humor is a bit approach a lot more serious. So.
I mean, we talked about the media of the 20th century, magazines and film, photography, so forth. Are we still waiting for the sort of breakthrough version of this for in the digital age?
I think so. I think everyone's looking to see how it's going to be, what it's going to be, how it's going to be. Yeah.
What's interesting, I find too, is we talk about negotiating your rate or what things are being used for. People will say to you now, they'll say, well, this is just for the web. Maybe it's just for the web.
That's why the Writers Guild went on strike.
I mean, it always makes me go, we're going to do this, we have this amount of budget because this is just for the web. So there's got to be a change at a certain point when people are like, well, this is, for the web, and it's past the television.
But in terms of the creative breakthroughs like, that have yet to happen on the web, I mean, do we think it's just because it's still early days, or because there's something more inherently difficult about pulling off fantastic, spectacles on these little screens?
I think it's pretty basic. I mean, that's a medium. It's not a visceral experience. You have it like three-dimensional in your hand, you hold it, you feel. You can move it around or carry it with you. It's still a tactile visceral experience. Or a book or a photograph or a canvas versus that screen, which is totally different. And I think that human nature is just that it's still stuck, if you will, in that area. I think everyone realizes that what you're saying is different. It's the same thing. You see it. You can make it bigger, smaller. You can look at it as long as you want. But it's somehow, I think, it just feels different to people. And that's the argument. Almost the last argument to keep magazines about it.
Right.
Is that people want to hold a magazine in their hand.
Whereas they literally don't want to hold newspapers in their hands. And information of a certain kind is easily transferable, whether when larger atmospheres and ideas that we're talking about are not so easily transferable to online.
What about the younger generations who didn't grow up with magazines, that are growing up with, I have a 12-year-old, it's all about texting.
Well, I think that's sort of hard because it's a pain in the ass. And it looks amazing, replicated. You can do all kinds of stuff in Photoshop or Illustrator, get the point across, but it's not the same thing as a document, as you were saying. And it's like, you create something and then it's an actual thing.
Yeah, like Tar magazine is a hybrid. It's like an art book magazine. That was the idea to do something so high quality, so completely distinct from the online experience that you almost can't argue with it. At the same time, we launched it a year ago. Like, we literally launched it the same day I think they announced the economic crisis. So it's like the worst project, but so economically it's become questionable. Good on paper, equal materials, and it's all, there's nothing that makes you feel like it's not being done with the best techniques in the world. But at the same time, it's a magazine art book hybrid for that reason, to really separate the online experience. But I also think that there's something that I think a lot of magazines might become more niche, that they might find their language in that more niche markets, less day-to-day.
I think it seems to me at this stage, again, dabbling in film and video game design and fashion and stuff, everything now is all the digital stuff is data, everything. As long as processing speeds, there's always going to be something better at something different. So I just feel like to have sort of a sense of rhetoric and to know how to do this kind of stuff, it's just not very interesting.
But you don't think there's anything inherent, to look at this question, something inherent about an object?
I mean, I've never said an iPhone has to be in that medium, but
I think it's interesting today though that the magazine information part is the magazine of the blog. It used to be the other way around. The bloggers would sit in there. I get one